This is If My People, the Bible reading, part 203, the book of Philemon. And it is so short, I'm going to read the entire scroll letter that was written by Paul. Chapter 1, verse 1. I don't have, I think this is one of the few books of the New Covenant that I do not have a Torah command in it. Chapter 1, verse 1. Paul, a prisoner of Messiah Yeshua, and Timothy, our brother, to Philemon, our dear friend and fellow worker, to Appia, our sister, to Archippus, our fellow soldier, and to the assembly that meets in your home. He's telling you how they met in those days, and this is probably the way it should have been for thousands of years, not building churches all over the world on the backs of Christians, many who have died, many who went broke, many who gave everything and received little or nothing in return from the church. Wow. Something to learn here. Verse 3. Grace to you and peace from Yahweh our Father and Master Yeshua, Messiah. I always thank my Elohim as I remember you in my prayers because I hear about your faith in Master Yeshua and your love for all the saints. He's calling people saints just like you are a believer. You are a saint. Verse 6, I pray that you may be active in sharing your faith so that you will have a full understanding of every good thing we have in Messiah. Your love has given me great joy and encouragement because you, brother, have refreshed the hearts of the saints. Another key word is love, charity. And it's an action word. And when Paul talks about love, he's not talking about just a happy, floating, feeling, emotional thing. It's not emotional thing. It is action oriented love. It is charity. Um, Verse 8. Therefore, although in Messiah I could be bold and order you to do what you ought to do, yet I appeal to you on the basis of love. I, then, as Paul, an old man and now a prisoner of Messiah Yeshua. Prisoner of Messiah Yeshua. He doesn't mind using that word. I appeal to you for my son Onesimus, who became my son while I was in chains. Formerly he was useless to you, but now he has become useful both to you and to me. I am sending him, who is my very heart, back to you. I would like I'd like to keep him with me so that he could take care of your place in helping me while I was in chains for the good news. Remember one of the great commandments to Yeshua said to take care of the orphans and the old people. Mostly it's old ladies. When you're old and have nothing, take care of them. And when they're young and have nothing, take care of them. Paul adopted this one. There's a perfect way to do that. And you don't have to be a young person to adopt. Paul said he's an old man. Just telling you. But I did not want to do anything without your consent so that any favor you do will be spontaneous and not forced. Comment, a perfect example of being obedient, judicial order, and always voluntary and always reciprocal. Perhaps the reason he was separated from you for a little while was that you might have him back for good, no longer as a slave, but better than a slave as a dear brother. He is very dear to me, but even dearer to you, both as a man and as a brother and master. So if you consider me a partner, welcome him as you would welcome me. If he has done you any wrong or owes you anything, then charge me for it. I, Paul, am writing this with my own hand. I will pay it back, not to mention that you owe me your very self. I do wish, brother, that I may have some benefit from you and master. Refresh my heart in Messiah. Confident of your obedience, I write to you, knowing that you will do even more than I ask. Comment. Without comment, many do not understand the importance of this letter from Paul to Philemon. This letter refers to slavery. Paul himself a prisoner and was also to slave to Yeshua. Hebrew fugitive law, Deuteronomy 23:15-16 reveals how Paul acted in accordance with slaves. Onesimus, a slave, ran away from Philemon. Paul gave him a place to stay. He did not turn Onesimus in as a runaway. As a result, Onesimus came to the faith in Yeshua. which is the greater? Which is the greater love? Following the law of the land or following the law of the Father? The law of the Father always trumps the law of the land. Paul details how all good and bad things can be used by Yahweh for good itself. Today, many people live in the type of slavery themselves. Grace and mercy was good enough for Paul, and it should have been, and it should be, good enough for us. Verse 22. And one more thing. Prepare a guest room for me, because I hope to be restored to you in answer to your prayers. That's a lesson for us. We hope for a lot of things for us too, that the Father just doesn't give, does he? Well, there's a reason for it. Everything's going to be okay. If you think Paul's going to be in heaven, do the same. Epaphras, my fellow prisoner in Messiah Yeshua, sends your greetings, and so do Mark, Aristarchus, Demas, and Luke, my fellow workers. The grace of Master Yeshua Messiah be with your Ruach. The book of Philemon, a short letter of love about being a slave to Yeshua. Even if we're the bride of Christ, the bride of Yeshua, we are slaves to Yeshua. And that is not a bad word. We've turned it into it and made it fit into things today. Even at this second editing and creation of the second Bible, if my people. As I mentioned, there were like 257 different cults. Didn't mean cults. I meant to say types of people in this world that you can put into race and so forth. Not black and white. And at this time, the news is just a certain group of people are still trying to figure out how to pay reparations to ninth generations ago during the Civil War. To pay, everyone gets cash these days. From magic money that falls from the sky, and really does anybody understand what once you're 25, 26, 27, 38, 48 trillion dollars in debt. We're all in debt, and we're all broke. So if somebody gets a check with fiat false money, and somebody else doesn't get a check, and it all really doesn't matter. It's coming crashing to an end. You know, I was asked today by a number of people, is this it? Is this going to be the final it for the United States? In my opinion, it's serious trouble without repentance. I'm not worried one bit about the evil people. They're going to get theirs. And I'm not even thinking that we should be upset because we can't save all these evil people. The time of the Gentiles is ending, which means the souls that were going to be put in human bodies on this earth is coming to an end. And after that, there are no more souls to put. It's not an infinite number. It is a limited number of people in the course of creation in the beginning of time where the souls were created. And now they're in bodies. And when the bodies die, you have to be born of water and the blood to enter the final heaven. You must be born of water and the blood to enter the final heaven. Do you understand that? You have to be born and put into a human body through the woman, through the water, out from her as a human. So your human body has a soul. The soul existed before the human body. The soul existed for, could be millions of years. But now you're in a human body, and you will pass. And so the requirement to get to the final heaven is you must be born of water and the Spirit. Who said that, Bruce? Yeshua. Check it out. Check everything I'm saying. Does that make sense now to you? Have you ever been told that in a pulpit or a Sunday school class or anything like that? Oh, all right. So having said that, we'll stop here. It's 10 minutes and 30 seconds. And from there, um, we'll see you at the next reading. Oh, by the way, to keep up, it's going to be Colossians. Read the book of Colossians. Okay, see you then.